find people of like minds.
Yes.
As we move close to the election, they can
if that happens, maybe. But the way the structure is now, and the momentum we're seeing, the level of campaigns we are seeing now, I'm not saying it's not possible. When we said change is a constant thing, it's possible, but it's going to be very, very tough.
And that's the sweetest part of politics: the fact that you need to literally pass through the eye of the needle to get the victory.
How easy it is to pass through the eye?
It's a proverb.
It's going to be very tough.
But then, I mean, if in quotes now, the supposedly smaller political parties can make themselves available for conversations like this: 1 vote, 2 vote, 3 vote. See, we cannot deny the fact that. And if you look at
the margin of PME. Even the Agbaje era, it used to be very marginal.
Very, really close.
Very, very close. So
and that was where we had over 70 political parties.
So if
only there could be some sort of alliance.
Exactly, alliances,
Sandra, alliance is alliance that can only bring something closer to, if you want to upturn the cards here, if you want to play the rules.
A very serious one like that.
But yes, it's only people coming together.
If we look at the national level and we see the back and forth that we have been seeing from NNPP and Labour Party as regards a merger or an alliance or anything, if you look at the array of governorship candidates that we have in Lagos State, do you think that there's anyone there that would be selfless enough, to come down and say, guys, let's come together and make this work?
Well, it's not impossible, but politics, the way we play it in this part of the world, I don't see. You see that the SDP man was a bit cautious about answering that question. What he said was that if he sees people of like minds, if at the level of the PDP, for example, a Jandor could not have looked at the Gbadebo Vivo route as somebody that can bring value, and decided to just do it on his own, and then you have Vivo standing on his own, you have SDP, you have the NRM, and these are all brilliant minds.
They're all brilliant minds.
When you speak to them,
Braithwaite,
I've spoken to him on the political roundtable, and he was a fantastic, very brilliant man.
Doherty is also, someone of, caliber. That's of ADC.
Akeem Dixon is also running on the platform.
On the platform,
I think it's easy. There's the party, yeah. Akeem Dixon, the same Akeem Dixon of
was.
So I was shocked when I saw that he's also.
Again, it's. I remember prior to the 2019 election, there was a talk as regards Showore Accord Party. There was a talk about Showore, Kingsley Mogalu, and all of these guys coming together at the federal level. See, let me not lie to you. There's always going to be that tiny space of ego in politics. You think because you got to a place, 1,000 people came to embrace you, you got to the airport, people were snapping with you, you feel you have the structure, in quotes. So somebody comes to you and say, you know what, maybe you should collapse the structure and let this person fly the ticket, and it becomes what makes him better than me. So we'll go back and forth before we know what's happening. Election is here, and the people that are serious with politics, they've continued. The people that don't need merger. See, Lagos is not out of that change possibility.
No,
it's not.
For us, the margins have always been closed.
If it could happen at the federal level, it has never been done in the history of this country that a sitting government was going to be thrown out like that.
Some people would argue with you, Opoyemi, and say that the reason why it was easy at the federal level was because you have 36 states. Okay,
so the votes came in,
and then and you have
Sandra,
governors of different parties.
Sandra, let me tell you why it's possible. If you look at, I'm not going to talk about the LCDAs. If you look at the 20 local governments, the recognized ones, and you look at the nature of voters in those local governments, Lagos has gotten to a point where a change can happen. I can tell you that for free. Look at Sulere, for example. You have a situation where Sulere is divided among different ethnic lines. In fact, there are people that will argue with you that the Igbo population in Lagos is almost more than the
how many House of Reps?
Do you know how many House of Reps are of
Igbo? All those places.
So you talk about Papa, Muodofin, and all of that, Iba, Ojo, even Alimosho. If you look at the whole of Gowon Estate, and all of that areas, so you see, Lagos is possible. That change is possible in Lagos. If you look at the culture and the voting pattern of people of Igbo extraction, because it's just the diversity in terms of the voting population and all of that, but it will require the political class in the opposition getting their acts together, thinking through this thing. It's not by it's
going to be tough because there's been
the resources is there, the structure is there.
There's been talks in Lagos that some people would do opposition in the afternoon
and then that's another one.
In the night they will do ruling party.
Do you know that I've spoken to some opposition members who tell me that they don't even believe their leaders are not not working for the body.
The opposition.
I'm telling you, that they don't even trust them.
Can you blame people if you have a Wike of Rivers State coming all the way to
Lagos?
That
one is the national disruption.
To come to Lagos, you have a candidate in Lagos here, and then you decided to go. Look at what happened in Ogun State. We had that conversation on Monday with and the former APC governor saying, "Oh no, I don't believe this."
Remember
guy
that there are members of the PDP
in
Lagos now. I think even some of the former party chairman or something that has crossed over to the APC. Remember from Agege. When we were on political roundtable, there was this member of the Lagos for Lagos movement. Yes.
He
followed Jandor to Labour to Lagos. Sorry,
the Lagos for Lagos movement.
Lagos to Lagos.
PDP,
and when we heard that there was one power money, whatever,
there was money collected or not before.
We heard that there's 100 million one place, and he had gone back to
the
his
APC.
source.
So so you have a situation where even in the fold of the opposition, there's that distrust. People don't even believe their leaders. I'm telling you,
that's when they said some people will do opposition. They will do opposition during the day, and during the night they will go and do Baba Kepe. See, I really understand where this conversation would lead to eventually. It will be as if, you've given up in Lagos. No, we've not.
No.
What we're trying to say is that we cannot deny the fact that Lagos is under the stronghold of certain individuals. The certain, in quotes, that the minority of the minority, they've actually decided who gets what in Lagos. So beyond all of the English we speak, beyond all of the rants we do on social media, we need to be objective. We need to be sincere to understand the fact that you need to take this opposition to the grassroots in Lagos
and do the job, do the work,
leave social media, leave Maryland, go to Idumota, go to the core of Lagos, go and talk to those ideologists. Those are the ones that can understand that. Fine, you think you are okay right now, but you can get better if you look elsewhere. That is the only way we can change it.
I just want
a campaign that would win the APC in Lagos has to be a marathon.
It's not to do after 2.5 years close to election you come back.
No, it has to be a marathon. You have to
that in the next 8 years you may not win, but you have to consistently keep talking,
pushing, keep setting up structures, talking to people, putting out the narrative out there, and
all right. Again, so we have
it's not impossible.
So we have so many options. We have so many options. I mean, we just talked about Gbadebo Vivo of Labour Party. We talked about Hakeem Dixon of Accord. We're expecting AKINWUNMI Shola Braithwaite of NRM Party, that's National Rescue Movement. So, and then we also have Funsho Doherty of African Democratic Congress. And then you also have there's so many. You also have Olarewaju Jim Kamal, that's for NNPP. Okay. We also have Zenith Labour Party, Adekunle Adenikwebi, and Booth Party. My darling party.
Sandra, you are still campaigning for that party. We are doing fundraising one time like that.
We were fundraising. We're actually looking for.
How much did you guys make?
Don't worry.
No, we should know.
Accountability.
We should declare publicly. You are not Adamu Garuba.
We have what it takes.
You are not Adamu Garuba. Declare.
Wasiu Olawale Oluwo.
That's of the Booth Party, right?
Yes, with Rotimi Balogun as his running mate. Okay, so when you have all of these people, and most notably out of all of them, you have Gbadebo Vivo
of the Labour Party,
of the Labour Party, who came from the PDP. You have AKINWUNMI Braithwaite of the National Rescue Movement, who came from the ADC. Then you have Funsho Doherty of the ADC. Those are the
even the SDP man came from the APC. He was a member of the APC.
Yes,
he was
a commissioner in the Lagos State Judiciary.
Olakunle Uthman. Yes, okay. So you have that Olakunle Uthman of the Social Democratic Party, and then you now have Oladiran Jandor of the PDP. So you have all of these major people now. The reason why I'm saying major is because these are known people already.
Yeah, known faces.
They are extractions from known
different parties.
Different parties. That's why I'm mentioning their names, not trying to set aside anyone or anything. But if you have all of these people, there are some of them that are core. I mean, when you talk about Lagos, like you've been hearing their names, like from
ages.
You hear of Doherty. That name is it resounds in Lagos in itself. So are you telling me that with that momentum that they have, or for them to have left their major party, that there's nothing, there must have been something they were thinking about for them to believe that let me get out of here, Sandra, and I can make it work outside.
They have the right to join whatever political party they choose to join. They have the right to achieve their political ambitions on whatever, as long as the constitution does not allow independent candidacy. So you need a platform that
aligns political parties, so
that aligns with your goals in life. But then if you look at the genuity in politics, then you understand that it goes beyond just moving from one political party to the other. We're talking about a state that had been under the control of an individual, not even from 1999 till now, from way back. I mean, exactly. No, 2003, even pre-1999. Actually, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was a senator in the, I think, Second SDP Republic, or if I'm not mistaken. So
on the platform of the SDP.
So it's been a long time that this same set of people have been recycling who gets what in Lagos. Whether you perform or you don't perform, if you fall out with the status quo, with the men that matter, you're out of the system. So it takes consistency. It takes being sincere, being intentional with ambition, not just coming to look for, to chase cloud, not just coming to collect like G's, to raise funds, to send GoFundMe and get all of these monies. No, you need to be consistent. Do you know how many people that forms governors in Lagos? We are talking about commissioners, we are talking about appointees. You think all of these people want to leave their offices? You think they don't want to enjoy? You think they don't want to continue from where the largest is coming from? No, nobody wants to leave power, Sandra. Nobody wants them to pull their hands away from where they are feeding. Everybody wants to dip their hand into the honeycomb. So it's very simple. If you want to wrestle power in Lagos, it goes beyond beautiful pictures.
All right, so let me now ask this question. Do you think that the populace, the Lagos populace themselves, want that change? Because some people, some people are comfortable with the some people are comfortable with the fact that whether we like it or not, APC in Lagos seems to be doing something. They seem to be making things work. Maybe because of the continuity. This one comes like a relay race.
That's why I said autopilot.
You collect the baton from the next person, and then you just keep running on the same template. There's a blueprint, all right? Okay, so some people believe, let's just let them continue. Some people are even of the opinion that maybe we should allow it for other states so that they can be. So I'm just asking, do the populace of Lagos State, do they even want the change, or are we the ones that were just like, is enough? Let's experience another one.
I think the answer will go in two ways. There are people who believe that Lagos is working based on their own experiences, based on political affiliation, based on personal sentiment and all of that. But there are people who also feel that, look, Lagos could be in a better place. I've seen people argue that, look, the fact that it's just been one party, one structure, has stifled the growth, the potentials of Lagos, in terms of being that mega city where things are functional. I'm a Lagosian. If you ask me, I think Lagos has the potential to do a lot more than what it is doing now. Lagos shouldn't be in this amount of debt, for example, with all the revenue that Lagos makes. In terms of infrastructure, I think Lagos can be a lot better. For example, I look at the quality of roads, even in terms of the economy of Lagos and all of that. Lagos has the potential to do a lot better.
Whether what we're experiencing
whether
now.
Lagosians want a change or not, I think we can only test that at the ballot. It's not easy for anybody to sit here and say Lagosians want a change. So until the ballot says yes, Lagosians want to change.
When they have so many options, so how did they now make their choice? All right. Well, you're listening to Ballot 23 on mainland 98.3 FM, and today we're supposed to have a guest with us in the studio, but Lagos don't
do something.
Lagos is Lagos.
Lagos is Lagos. So
the
traffic situation and whatnot. However, we decided, okay, so while we await his arrival, we can also have him via the phone line.
Yeah.
All right. So let's open up the phone. Let's speak with him now via the phone line. We have AKINWUNMI Ishola Braithwaite of National Rescue Movement Party, the governorship candidate of that party. Good evening, Mr. Braithwaite.
Good evening to you.
Okay. Good evening. All right. So the information we're getting is that you are stuck in traffic.
Yes, Lagos has happened to me.
All right. Well, thank God for technology, eh?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's just get straight into it. We've been having this conversation as regards Lagos politics and how we have these other parties springing up with actually brilliant minds. Brilliant minds. We've had some governorship candidates also on the show, and we've heard what they have to say. And do you think with this kind of stronghold that the ruling party has over the states as at now, do you think it's possible, or what do you think the chances are in 2023 for NRM? Maybe you can speak for NRM.
Yes, I think the fact that we have so many people showing up. I've been listening to your fascinating conversation, and I really show respect to all the contenders that are, coming out there. I think these are people who have done the analysis, and I believe, like them, that there is a very, very good chance of really disrupting the status quo. We are at the point now where I think most people will tell you that we are pretty fed up with what's been happening to us in Lagos. If Lagos was fantastic, we wouldn't be doing anything about it. We would all be very cool. So in terms of chances, yes, and I'd like to tell you by way of the statistics. I'm sure you probably heard the statistics, so you're fed up of hearing the numbers. But numbers don't lie. We have to go with the numbers. Can you hear me?
Well, with you.
Right. It surprised many people to know that there were, in 2019, 6.5 million registered voters. And the current governor managed to score 730,000 votes. Now, that's roughly 11% of the overall voting population. That tells me that there is roughly 80%
still out there for
who, yes. Now, I think anyone looking at that would think it would be remiss of us to just ignore that and say, one party has a stronghold. If they have the stronghold, the numbers certainly don't show that. And we probably wouldn't have known for the fact that people have decided to start analyzing this thing and really unpack it. And surprisingly, when I saw those numbers, I actually didn't believe it. So I had...
Hello? Okay. All right. You're still on to Ballot 23 on mainland 98.3 FM. I don't know. I think it's the network issue that we just got cut off. All right. We're actually in a conversation via the phone line with AKINWUNMI Braithwaite, that's NRM gubernatorial candidate for Lagos State. And I don't know, probably there's a network glitch there. We'll try to reach him again in the course of the show. But now, speaking of numbers, he said something about numbers. Do you think that the remaining millions of people that refused to vote or that did not vote or were unable to vote or didn't have access to voting or what?
There's always a problem of voter apathy in Lagos. I understand the statistics that Mr. Braithwaite was trying to talk about. If you have over 6 million registered voters, and
then
only
one person's 700.
I think the total tally in Lagos from 1999 to date has always been less than 20% of the voting population.
Now we have 11 million.
So how are we sure that there's going to be a change
all
this time?
11 million
will come out and vote. There's always been that apathy that you can't even explain.
Or at least 60 to 7%.
Because how do you explain that there has never been any time a governorship, the person that won the governorships in Lagos has got up to 1 million votes? It has always been 600, 700,000 within that range and margin. And you have millions of people registering, but they don't come out to vote. So if he's looking at maybe a possible change in terms of voting pattern, the attitude of voters to coming out to vote on elections day, why not? I think it's something that...
Is it that Lagosians did not see someone that they think can actually get this thing done?
Something just happens. People don't come out to vote.
People don't just come out to vote.
A lot of other
factors. It's easier to play football on the streets than go out.
Maybe this time people know that.
Lagosians don't rest. Even on public holidays, they still work. But so election is a total shutdown. So you use the opportunity to either visit friends and family. And secondly, a lot of people migrate out of Lagos when election is coming. Are you allowed to
drive up and down?
No, you can walk streets.
Come on. The distance
is
short.
What is
wrong, really? It's really wrong. And there's always migration also during election period. A lot of people are just doing businesses in Lagos, and when election comes, they just transfer their PVCs to their own state, just like we see in December, where everywhere is literally empty in December. People go home and all of that. Another factor is this. Now maybe people will start thinking that, okay, so it's not like the governor that wins always get 4 million votes, just like Mr. AKINWUNMI said, that people are now beginning to bring out these statistics that the current governor of the state had about 700,000 votes to win the election. So it's not like you know, it's not like he got everything. It's not like he got 5 million votes or he got 10 million votes.
So there's still quite a number of votes out there that you can harvest.
That means somebody can still get over 700,000 votes. I mean, if you have 6 million registered voters and somebody is winning with just 700,000,
less than a million votes.
So you need to ask yourself these questions. So I mean, so it's just what it is. We'll continue to make the voices really loud, and people will start thinking, okay. So it's not like Sanwo-Olu got 9 million. No.
If you have 11 million voters and then the person that won
less than 1 million
got less than 1 million, so that means that
there's a lot of this you can harvest out there. Yeah, votes out there.
I like that
possibility.
That possibility. I like the way that sounds. I don't think I've ever considered that that number.
Now you know.
Now you know.
All right. So yes, finally Lagos has released our guest for us. And
Lagos traffic.
And I like the fact that he spoke into the studio. That's technology.
Yes. All right. So yes, we have AKINWUNMI Shola Braithwaite, governorship candidate for National Rescue Movement Party in Lagos State. All right, and he's finally here with us in the studio. So let's just carry on with the conversation. We already started, so let's just move on with it. All right, you're welcome to Ballot 23. We just open up this show and said let's see what exactly other parties have to offer. A lot of people just look at it that we have just we have two parties, so everybody is transfixed on that. If not at the national level now, there's even small hope that there's going to be some sort of
the third force, fourth force, fifth force somewhere.
That's at the national level. So I mean, here in Lagos, we've had over 23 years of the same circle, just the same party. Let me put it that way. Breathing in and out, the same people churning in and out, and all that. So now we're asking this question, just as you have started the conversation. I'm sure you were still going to go on until I don't know what went off there. All right. So how does our NRM? How do they plan to actually get the numbers, just as you have mentioned, to make that change that Lagos probably needs or may not need? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess before you get into something, and thank you very much for having me, and hello Lagos, hello listeners. It is delightful to be able to connect with people, and I want to say you guys are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you,
sir.
It's important that we really educate our people, and I think one of you did say that it's so different to what it's been like before. And I think and I don't know whether the same is true of you guys, but I was never really that interested in politics. As far as I was concerned, we've got people there who are doing what they need to do. There are proxies, and let them get on with it. But I think the reality is that we've said let them get on with it, but at the end of the day, I think aren't getting the best that we should be getting. And that's what democracy is all about. It's really, it's a competition of ideas. So somebody's doing it one way, you think you can do it another way. If we take this studio we're in, it's wonderful. It's lovely. And if you go to other studios, they're a bit dowdy. So it depends on what each person thinks that they bring into the table. So a party is there as a platform, as an expression. NRM in this case is touting the belief that it needs to rescue Nigerians, and that term rescue is a very, very cogent one, because if you really take the factual situation that we're all in, Nigeria has the worst statistics anywhere in the world when you're measuring human development. Roughly 20 million children of young people out of employment. Now, I hide my head in shame when I hear those numbers, just as the numbers I was telling you about earlier. You first of all filled with disbelief. You don't want those numbers to be true, because if they are in fact true, then you have to ask yourself, somebody has dropped the ball a couple of times over. And as responsible members of society, you can't just sit back and let these things, it will show in what is coming out. Now, take the traffic, for example. It's just horrendous, it's crazy. There is no, what you used to call rush hour, but it's almost the same every single time, seriously. State of affairs that cannot be allowed to continue to exist. If it does, then that means that we, even as citizens, aren't playing our role. And that's what democracy is all about. So the NRM is looking at all this and saying, listen, we have got to get in there. We've got to make things count. We've got to make things differently. If I use the example of the corporate sector, whereas that's the world in which I really operated in, there's something called monopoly. It cuts short ideas. If you have just one entity controlling the way things go, you won't have new ideas coming up, bubbling to the surface. It will always be the way it is. So democracy, thank goodness, is a tool that is used in society to allow new ideas to surface to the surface, and to allow for creativity, and to allow for a change of priorities. So it's about priority setting. It's about agenda. What is the agenda? So my agenda essentially really ensure that the welfare, you have so many people sleeping underneath the bridges, then you wonder why we have crime, why you have insecurity. That means millions of guys are waking up every morning angry at society. They are disenfranchised, and therefore they're going to do whatever it takes to either hurt other citizens to get by, and if they're also living in abject poverty, that further compounds things. The jobs, there's got to be job creation. Let me pause there.
All right.
Okay, because again, I was thinking, well, let's just limit ourselves to those that people have always questioned, and that's public transportation. As a young journalist, in those days, I'd seen presentation by this, I think by the Fashola government, if I remember, on the intermodal transport system. Taking advantage of the waterways, the rail lines. There's even the inter-train city network, which is supposed to have green, red, rail, yellow, and all of those kind of things. And then, you have the BRT system and all of that. I'm sure you followed all of their plans in terms of having an intermodal transport system for Lagos. But here we are, 2022, almost how many years now? What and the way we move in Lagos?
So Lagos had a master plan, but because ultimately, some has been put on the shelf. And these things that you mentioned, the rail line, the intermodal transportation, and all this kind of stuff, have just been left to fester. And that's why there is a choking. You can see that we're choking.
We're choked, yeah.
Okay?
Definitely.
So if we don't ensure that new priorities, come on board, people who really want what we want, because the question, and I think you guys mentioned it, that what do Lagosians want anyway? So if our priority, because at the end of the day, some of us have been free. What are we? You go to, and you're going. Absolutely. And Lagos is an island, right? Which means that it is surrounded by water. So, if seriously, there was a time where we saw the building of some jetties. Suddenly, that kind of, stalled, as it were. There's corruption all over the place. There's a start of projects, and then it stops, and then it's like, well, tough. What do you want to do about it? But the budget after budget after budget includes these things.
He's capturing these things.
Right. Okay. But because, about a fortnight ago, someone sent me the master plan, 2016 to 2035 for Ikorodu, sub-regional master plan. I was amazed at that.
Not only Ikorodu, there's Badagry, there's a there's Lekki, the master plans are there.
But nothing is happening because the funds that are meant for this or that or whatever have other priorities. So we've got to stop that. It's actually imperative that we don't sit on the sidelines anymore. We can't sit on the sidelines and complain. Those that have what it takes and what it can take, those that have the experience, those that have the exposure, need to actually step up.
And the commitment too.
And the commitment, and have been proven to be worthy. Their hat in the ring, need to come and do and change this thing and help us.
The deals is how much money Lagos, Nigeria, as it stands. and then you look at how much you grew up in Lagos, you know your Lagos.
The
way Lagos really reflected in what Lagos looks like right now. Don't also forget that in terms of security, Lagos is not where it should be. I've been unfortunate to be trapped in 2 traffic robbers in the last 15 days or thereabouts, as early as 8:35 in Lagos here. So can you talk to us what exactly is going on as regards how much money Lagos is generating and the level of development in this Lagos?
That's one of the things that really is very sad. When you talk about the Lagos that I grew up in, there's a time when you had the public swimming pool where people could go and relax around about Onikon, there. There's even a time when the place called the race course, there used to be horse races, going on there. People used to walk and go on leisurely walks and, just have fun. I remember in those days we used to be taken to Plaza Cinema, just to go and watch some movies. This was the same Lagos that, at the end of the day, you had foreigners coming in and, people used to enjoy themselves. Unilag used to actually have expatriate students coming in, for whatever. The hospitals, the General Hospital on Marina, my mother worked there, and to the patients, the food was covered. What was going, you could see where the money was being spent during the Jakonde era, all the way to Ekpe. You had the Jakonde housing. The infrastructure was coming up right there. It was like shoots of a tree. Right now, we're not seeing that. Obviously, you can borrow, and the size of the plan talked about the Atlantic Road. Not doing things that have been budgeted for 12 years. What tends to happen is that, first of all, the cost of that project is going to escalate astronomically. The second thing is that the inflows that you were expecting from year 3 or year 4 are not happening. So it's compounding. So the revenue that you were expecting to generate isn't there, it's absent. In fact, the revenue isn't there for another 9 years. So it's just made a mess of whatever it is. So that's why when you're having projects, you need to bring in your projects on time. It starts to go haywire. You've got to borrow more because you really didn't have all the money to start with. So you've just compounded and compounded and compounded the problem. So if you have challenges in doing all this, then really you should move aside, and let others come and do, these things. So regardless of the Naira and Kobo value, we don't even spend Kobo anymore. I haven't seen Kobo in donkey years. Well, they didn't say they were bringing Kobo, new redesigning. Now, so the situation where we're at now is that regardless of the absolute numbers involved, it's the concept that we need to concentrate on, to say whatever is coming in, whatever was planned to be used, has it been used for whatever the budget says? Now, interestingly, Budget, this agency that looks at budgets and
budget performance, and
came up with, I think it was when they were looking at the last national budget, they found that there were 400 repeated projects. Okay? Now, we have the Freedom of Information Act, which is not being activated in our state here. So you have limited information to really go by.
About budget performance.
Absolutely. So if that's the case, then it is difficult to go to a granular level and say, yes, this is what the situation really truly is. So we don't actually know for certain what the situation is. But we can tell by what is not happening that the right thing isn't being done. Now, should we sit back and after 20 odd years and more, and I heard you guys conversing about this, it's wrong of us to sit back as citizens and to say, okay, let's just carry on. It's okay as it is. So we have to kind of step up to the plate. We've got to stand up and be counted. And it's going to take whatever it's going to take. But we can't let this state of affairs
could become the governor of Lagos State. At the national race, come up with the opinion that little efforts consistently. We've had the gubernatorial candidate of the SDP join us on these shows, where I think the last week or thereabout. Now we have you. What are you doing to make sure that, because whether we like it or not, I mean, to get to the minds of the people, the lips of the people, the attention of the people, so that when the conversation is going on, people are mentioning NRM.
Fantastic question. Let me, of course, remind us that the Labour Party wasn't a party that anybody really was thinking of at the front of their mind, until a gentleman called
Peter Obi.
No. Try again. Some years back, there was a gentleman called Mimiko. And he
won the election.
Exactly. And nobody had heard.
He abandoned.
Right. Yeah.
Eventually abandoned the party.
He changed it to Zenny Labour Party and then left eventually.
Yeah. Yes. Because of this sad Nigerian phenomenon that, for most Nigerians, it's not about issues. It's not about an agenda. Okay. So we have to sort of go back to first half. Okay. What to Britain, our former colonizer, Nigel Farage, who started the party, has no business that way. Then he switched and set up a party called the Brexit Party. And for about another 6 years, he kept on at this thing. Eventually,
got the attention,
disrupted the whole situation, the system, and Britain came out of Europe. That's agenda. That's agenda politics. You're going in there, whatever it is, however long and so forth. Nigerians want instant gratification. They want it right now, right away. So we've got to get used to the idea of the grind. Our fellow blacks in America had to fight for civil rights. It took a while, to make that happen. They had to fight for the right to even vote, okay? Because after civil rights, they didn't still have the right to vote. It was something that they had to tout. So what are we doing? Well, we are beginning to speak to people on the ground. It's more important, in my view, to go around and start to really converse, find people, the different communities. The other day we were with the northern community, speaking to them, asking what are their pain points. Because you don't just stand out there and believe that you have the answers to it. You don't even know what people are feeling, the pain. Yeah, exactly. So it's more around the consultation, first of all. I'll tell you another interesting fact. The Conservative Party in the UK is the ruling party in the UK today. It only has about 170,000 members in the whole of the UK. And it's over 180 years old as a political party. So it's not necessarily the size of the party, because it's not just the party members that are going to vote. In fact, it's better to be lean and disciplined, okay, rather than this humongous, indisciplined thing that's all over the place. And then you're bringing strange bedfellows, together, as the case is, today. That's why you find what's going on in all these big entities. They keep fighting, they keep being at each other's throats and whatever, because they're strange bedfellows. You just want to fill the room with human beings. So I hope that the NRM doesn't follow that path, that we, essentially keep trim, disciplined, and it's a new party set up in 2018. So it's got to sort of grow gradually. But whilst it's growing, it needs to really make sure that it understands what the people, the different, I have a philosophy, I call it societism. So I describe myself as a societalist. And the idea there is that society is not one humongous blob. It is different clusters of different interests, different situations and whatever. And we need to understand all of these and then try to harmonize so that every cluster is happy. As I said, the mission must be to deliver happiness, because anything else is just useless. And you talk to some people, the thing with the gender that says it's really about belongs to them, they can control. And that's how you can ensure that you do rapid development. That's how you can ensure that because you boost your society at the local level. This is
the phone line right now, so we can hear what. Let's hear what Lagosians have to say. Remember, I asked the question: if Lagosians are even actually desirous of change,
of a rescue.
Yes, of rescue. Because I mean, you can try to rescue someone and say, "Leave me, I'm okay with where I am."
I'm okay where I am.
All right, so 09136000410 09136000410. Okay, so the phone line is open. Do you have just 1 minute to ask your question? And please, let's try to keep it clean. Would appreciate that. So, AKINWUNMI Braithwaite. AKINWUNMI Braithwaite is here, NRM governorship candidate. Yes, thank you. NRM governorship candidate is here. So, what are your thoughts as regards the conversation so far? All right, and okay, I lost that one. Okay, 09136000410. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening, Sandra.
Yes.
I'll get our guests. Like I always say, my sister.
Your name.
My name is Lawat Tafi from Suderi.
Okay. All right.
Like I always say, this system is not working. That our girl that's sitting down there. I remember listening to his father. Educator, what you want to do? You campaign, make party. Who follow him? The system is not ready. The system is problem. Last time I remember when I forget his name now. Under PDP as governor, very brilliant man. He said so many things after the election. He's not going to be found anymore. You can see again now. Except only Mr. Olakunle is only opposition in Lagos. So how long can he go? I remember one of my brothers in their market. My brother, I belong to this popular party. In fact, he cannot even do anything. So these are the things. Because of the system, how many people listen to this kind of program? Mr. Paul, like I always say, I'm just ordinary roadside person.
I was going to say, it's actually a voice from the street. It's a organizer somewhere in Surrey.
People have been educating me. The program like this I listen to. I mean, I listen to this kind of program. So I don't know where to go. Here, not London. Here, not America. Left for us.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's a voice from the street.
He's a organizer?
Yeah, somewhere in Surrey. So he listens to us.
I'm told that all the organizer unions belong to the ruling party.
No. This to tell you that. At least you are hearing from. I'm telling you. This is a voice from the street in Surrey.
That's fantastic. I mean, because you see, this is why I say we need to listen to what the people are really saying. There is a big myth around, and we have to disabuse our mind.
You think the system is rigged against the people?
The system is broken.
Okay,
that's why we are out here. But the broken system is also an opportunity, and I did say we need to let people know that there are in 20 when was the Fashola era again? The last one before
2007.
That's right. Yeah. So 2011, there were one. Since then, the numbers have been and they're making a decision not to vote, including the masses, including the gentleman that just called on the phone. They are looking for viable alternatives.
All right.
And we are at the cusp of history, right, where the alternatives are now beginning to surface.
Sure.
Because suddenly, when you wake up and you suddenly realize that, oh, this bully isn't really all that.
Or that powerful.
Yeah. Then you sort of say, all we need to let people know is that all it takes is just your fingerprint on a piece of paper.
That's all.
You don't even have to let them know. You don't wear it on the t-shirt. Don't wear it anywhere. In fact, we're saying to people, you know what? This one has to be a guerrilla,
like a silent rebellion.
Yes, don't let anybody know where you're going and who you're voting for. Just when you get there, all it takes It's a
and
couple of
it
hours.
even makes it so much, sense now, as against what we had in 2019, where we had about 73 political parties.
Just 18.
Yes.
So
Now we have 18, so it's easy for you to
The
look for the
choice is
logo of your choice.
And I'll tell you
And
one beautiful thing. We're not even spending money because this doesn't require money to be spent. Despite everything that everybody tells you, you don't have to buy anybody, because at the end of the day, those who are fed up will show up. The ones that want the state to school will continue to vote for it. They're not more than 1 million. I've given you the statistics.
Exactly.
The statistics don't lie.
So we have over 4
Right?
and something million.
million. Now that's
Exactly.
the
So
same.
they're entitled to their 1 million.
Because
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I greet everybody in the studio and your guest. Very wonderful guy. My name is Godi. Now, I must tell you the truth.
Godi, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Okota area.
Okay.
The truth is that the masses are tired of the status quo in Lagos. You might not believe, but go on the streets, people are tired. Lagos should be better than what it is now. And you see, my issue is how these wonderful guys will come together and salvage this state. I mean, but I've looked at this whole thing. I think the biggest worry we should have is how to tackle this menace of these area boys who the opposition uses to win elections. Forget this structure thing they're talking about. There's nothing like structure as far as I'm concerned in Lagos. The problem we have is if there's a way we can get these guys who bully people out of the way, then you will understand that the masses are tired of APC in Lagos. So I don't know how you guys are going to handle that. So that they will not come and harass people and disturb people who want to really make a change in Lagos. Because to be frank, it's not what it is. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Question.
exactly. I think every
Lagosian wants answers to that. I think we should take more calls so that maybe takes it together.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good evening.
Is this Sandra?
Yes, correct. Mainland FM.
Okay. I'm Barrister Peter Oku. I'm calling from Mende, Maryland.
All right.
What of
I'm with you, Barrister Peter.
Yeah, okay. How are you today?
I'm well, and you?
Okay, fine. Thank God. I've been listening to your guest there with rapt attention. And to me, he sounds very intelligent and young too. This is what Lagos needs. Lagos needs to change the national of politics in Lagos. What we have today is a monarchy, Lagos, and the same thing at the federal level. We don't need all that. If we say we want to practice democracy, let's practice democracy as it is defined by those who invented the word democracy. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Government of the majority. But what we have in Nigeria as a whole is not, it does not meet the world standard for democracy. It's just a name. What we are practicing is monarchy, both at federal and at state level. You know, you can see Lagos for the past 20 years or so, there's nothing democratic, there's no development, except on the major roads. Here in Mende, where I am, for the past, I've lived here 25 years, there's no roads, nothing.
Thank you, Barrister.
You know? Yeah, so we need a young guy like this so that we will not continue to depend on
Thank you, Barrister. We need a young guy like that.
We were talking about the Agbero conversation. Of course, I think we owe ourselves that every gubernatorial aspirant that comes onto this platform must talk about it. A few weeks ago, on Monday morning, when Lagosians were set out for work, there was a protest, and then Lagos was literally shut down. That means non-state actors were dictating what a cosmopolitan state like Lagos should be on a Monday morning. Now, if you get into office, a lot of people had come out to say, well, Agberos, they need a source of livelihood. They are all family also. They need to integrate.
Part of the Lagos.
How would you handle this madness? That's the best way to, because I've seen these guys constitute silly things on the main road, put the life of motorists at risk. So how do you want to handle this situation?
Okay, so it will be a stick and carrot. They were put out there for a reason. They were designed as tools, and I've been looking at them very closely, and I've come to the conclusion that these guys too are victims. Some of them are drugged up, some of them are not in their right state of mind, some of them are mental health cases. So at the end of the day, this is why I talk about you have to have welfare as part and parcel of a responsible governance. You can't look at a situation where people have no means of employment and then say they should go and fend for themselves. Now, imagine you have a 15-year-old and you take him, off the street, and then you throw him into this activity. And that 15-year-old, 10 years now, has become a 25-year-old. Okay. So ultimately, 15 years, the guy is now in his 30s. He's got no skills. He's got no care in the world. He doesn't believe that the state cares about him or anybody and whatever. So he's an angry weapon, okay, who is disenfranchised and doesn't give two hoots about anybody and about society. And you have got to take these folks off the street, okay, immediately. And it's been done in Oyo State. So that would be something that would have to be anyone who's just loitering and who's, got no real business just hanging on the street, because there's an extortion racket going on. That's a crime, okay? So, but in doing that, that's why I say, you see, the absence of local government is an absence of a lot of things. You have to revive local government. You have to bring local government back to what it's meant to be, because under local government, you have, within its purview, you have vocational training, you have adult education, you have primary education. So these three aspects of society are so important to what we're now seeing. Now, I don't know where the statisticians are getting the numbers of children who are out of school, and they say it's 2 million in Lagos plus. But I don't know where they put the figure of these other guys who are just street urchins, okay? Then you have this unemployment figures. I don't know whether the unemployment figure has also taken account of these guys who really have no real legal economic activity. So you have to take the local governance, and that's what I would do. Within the very, very first number of months, we would bring back the local government system, authorities, and sit down together, sort of now start to pinpoint what they are meant to be doing, get them to take hold of an ownership of those responsibilities, because you have these guys in every local government space. You have a drug problem happening in different local government space. One of the things that local government is also meant to do is to have what they call bostal homes. These are homes where you put people who are, just off the streets, and you then start to give them the care. A society has to care, because once people start having care, that ability to be disruptive and disruptive begins to come down. You must have a safety net. It's an irresponsible government that does not put a safety net in place. Even the most capitalistic of all countries, America, has the safety net. Right. You've got to take care of People, and our constitution speaks to that in section 16. You must provide food, shelter, clothing, okay, and health care. These are fundamental rights of citizens. Once you do that and you put the money towards that, you will see that you're reducing the power keg that is going to explode. We need to avoid an uprising, because if we're not careful, the way we're going, we're really getting to the precipice where there could be an uprising. You saw what happened in October 2020 with the NSAS thing. We took the hit in our axis there where we live. So we've seen live how people can be terribly destructive. So you want to bottle that, you want to take care of that. You need to provide jobs as a matter of urgency, as a matter of top priority. That's why I say it's got to be about the people-centric issues. Front and center has to be about the people. The governor, I would be, and my team, and the civil servants, just like the ruler of Dubai says, your job is to provide happiness for the people. So when you ask that question every day, is this going to make my people happy? That will guide your activities and your
policies
actions. Yes,
all
because
right.
That's what governance is meant for.
I have a message here before we move back to taking phone calls. Yes, someone here, Peter Sia in Ikeja, is asking, how are you going to constitute your cabinet, and how long will it take you to do that should you win? And also is asking, how do you intend to tackle waste management in Lagos? I think that's another thing that is a serious on top burner.
You go around Lagos and Lagos is dirty.
Very dirty.
Well, so the team, there are so many brilliant people, right? And fortunately, I happen to come from the corporate world. I used to be the customer relations executive at MTN Communications. I don't know if you've heard of that company, but I had a major responsibility there. And by the time I was leaving, there were 3,000 staff in my division, and a lot of wonderful, sharp managers, senior managers, general managers. And there are people that we will call on in different walks of life, yes, who are professionals, right? We really need professionals to deliver. You see, to be able to deliver happiness,
you must understand happiness too.
Absolutely, you must take from there. And my job then was, and it's not far-fetched. My job then was the customer relations executive, and I had to look after 53 plus million customers, and the role was to make sure that customers were happy, okay, and to deliver. And I had to do it through what I call the high performance team. So we will put that in place very, very quickly. The names that I've already penciled down. In any case, this is not
rocket science.
Absolutely,
it's not an 8-month journey.
Absolutely,
Waste management.
So waste management, that's a wonderful one, because there's a term called waste to wealth. And this is again where local governance is meant to come in. You see, you can't be at one point talking about restructuring. Okay, you say, you want federal to restructure. And at state level, you don't want to restructure. You've got to have local government autonomy, because there's a role, there are jobs that local government is meant to do. If you try to do it at the state level, you will leave the major things and be attending to waste management. Waste management is meant to happen where the waste is occurring, okay? And you can create jobs through waste management, because there's a lot you can do with waste. I also happen to have a farm, and it's an organic farm. And one of the things that excited me about organic farming is that you don't need to waste stuff. Everything can be used, recycled. Right? Exactly. So you can use waste to create energy. You can use waste to create fertilizers. There are a number of different things that you can really do with waste. Then you have recycling as well. So all of these plastic waste and this, that, and the other. And we're in a world now where it's about being environmentally friendly, looking after your environment and things like that. You can start educating young children about waste. There's a program that I ran some years ago at Japa World, teaching children financial literacy. One of the things that we were doing was to teach children how to get and collect waste, because there are recycling companies that you can take the waste to and you will get money. So we can turn the waste thing from a hopeless situation into opportunity. And we will do that because you also need to create jobs. And you need to create jobs like yesterday. Jobs. And you do that at the local government level.
All right. Thank you very much. I was already thinking.
You were carried away.
Hello, good morning.
I don't blame you.
It's
sweeting you.
Good evening, Prince Wise.
Good evening.
And all of you.
Good evening, Prince
I
Wise.
greet all of you.
We greet you too.
Including your guests in the studio.
Thank you, sir.
Please, question number 1. Are you the son of a former BRAITHWAITE?
The great late Tunji Braithwaite was my uncle.
Yes. Oh, very good of you. A good family for that matter.
Thank you, sir.
Number 1, I must appreciate you. You spoke very well. You spoke my mind. But the problem is this. Because if not this radio station now, I don't know the name of your party. So, by the way, I never hear jingle about your party or radio, no street rally, no road rally, no manifesto. How are you going to manage it? And for me, I suggest, because whether we like it or not in Lagos State today, we do have 2 dominant parties. Of late, now we are now have another party again, that is ALP, making it the top party in Lagos. But your party, if you can't make it, can't you turn the ruling party, they are party as a commissioner? You take that slot, they offer you a commissioner in Lagos State. That's my question for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Prince Wise.
That's interesting, Prince Wise. A gubernatorial candidate.
It's about service. Why not?
That's an interesting question. That's why I said it's an interesting question. I'm interested in the answer also. But let's just take one more call and then we'll wrap things up with
taking
that.
Calls,
yes. Hello, good evening.
Please, too much. You are not giving us chance to talk.
Sorry.
You have the chance to talk.
Patrick Kokoro.
Okay. Good evening.
Patrick Kokoro from Ikorodu. Well, you all remember what happened in the Kwara State 2019. Also there, it happened in the Kwara State between Bukola Saraki and his people there. So 2007, we all remember when Tinubu was running for second time. What is there? Social William was taken out because of Ballot Tinubu.
That's just an allegation. You have to
be careful what you see on radio,
that's
Patrick.
Just an
always said that.
You can't accept that, Mr. Patrick.
This is radio. It's
not.
Your opinion should not.
Your opinion should.
That has to be on fact. This is radio.
Exactly.
It's not a beer parlor discussion, please.
Hello.
Well, with you, Mr. Patrick. Keep it clean, please.
So, if that man is alive, Bola Tinubu will not win the second time.
Okay.
We have people that are alive now.
Come to your guests in the studio there. It's like he's not ready to be a governor of Lagos State.
Okay.
Why?
Yes. He said within himself, he wants to tell himself the truth.
Why? Why do you think so?
So that is my own take. Thank you.
Okay.
Let me just take it that Mr. Patrick
didn't have any question.
He didn't have any question. He just wanted to make a statement. But the
Prince
Wise was asking
talking about the party
rallies and jingles, publicity, and all of that. So we asked a similar question. What are you doing?
Commissioner,
and if you're offered commissioner, I'm interested in that particular one.
Okay. I believe that we have to use unconventional means. You see, if you look at the cost of campaigning, it is unduly and unnecessarily a money thing. They've turned it into money politics. So average people, Joe Bloggs, who has something to offer, is scared of. Personally, I don't even believe in these rallies and stuff like that, because a lot of it is rent a crowd. And again, I take you back to the statistics. If these rallies really meant all that, why is it that we had an 11% of the registered voters turn out? Absolutely. So the stats already show you that, look, all that approach to things is old school. For me, and that's why I again told you about the Conservative Party, nobody goes all over the place, creating, hula baloo, and then again inviting these guys to be violent. You've still got all these guys out there who are tearing down posters and all this kind of stuff and whatever. So they are violent. I believe that you need to be underneath the radar, let people know, and those who really want to, look, this thing is not by force. If people truly are fed up, then let them go put their thumb thing. They don't need a rally to be able to. You wake up in the morning and you say, hey, I'm not happy with what's going on. You should even be searching and scouting and saying, look, what's the alternative? Yes, out there.
Okay.
So that's my take on that. That you haven't heard. Well, today, those who say they haven't heard of NRM are hearing today, and it will continue.
We also had collaborator last week, so
there you go. So people haven't heard, they will hear, and they will continue. Word of mouth also spreads like wildfire. Right. So it's not really a major issue. Now, coming to the commissioner role.
You got an offer.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, is he offering me the commission? I was asking. Now, the thing is that, again, we need to educate our people that life is about your purpose. What is the value system? What's your agenda? All right. If, for example, the agenda that I have is to see a more people-centric approach, I saw all these parties before I decided to join a fringe, small, tiny party.
Quote unquote.
Okay, yes. But I did that, making a conscious decision that I didn't want to be involved with the establishment and all that, because it didn't have the kind of values or the agenda that I want to see.
So you reject the offer?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's where I want this conversation to end.
I like
I just wanted that.
I like the way it ended.
No, I won't
as
take
regards ideologies and
what you believe in,
what you believe in, what you stand for. All right, and which reminds me of the fact that some months ago you were in ADC, but let's not go deep.
To what happened in the ADC,
exactly.
But maybe some other time.
Maybe some other time, definitely. But thank you very much, Mr. Akin Braithwaite, for being here this evening. All right, and that's it for Ballot 23. It was quite an interesting one. Just as we said, equal opportunities for all 18 parties, and so far, I think I'm counting now. We're on 5 already. So. Don't worry, we're still working on bringing.
There's still time.
February is still far.
February is still far. All right, and of course. Oh, okay. Well, you can actually, check them out on Instagram, Twitter, on their website also, Akin Braithwaite's World. Yes, I think I got that. That's on Instagram. All right, and then Twitter, Akin Braithwaite, website, akinbraithwaite.com. All right, thank you, Okoyemi Akinade. It's always a pleasure. Fuad Sahid. My name still remains Omobola Sandra. You're on to Mainland 98.3 FM.